Well, hello everyone. It's Kara. It's time for the Monday meal, and today we're making something really interesting. It is going to be a Philly cheesesteak lasagna. Yeah, you heard me. Philly cheesesteak lasagna. So, we're doing the prep work here. You have to do this at least 30 minutes before you cook the meat. So, I found this stuff at Dollar General. I bought 2 boxes of it. It is Steak-'em sliced steaks, and they're thinly sliced beef steaks. The only ingredient in here is beef. And then when you put them, when you take them out, because they're so thin, they cook pretty fast. They want you to cook it from frozen, but we got to marinate it for this recipe. So they're in here. They're just all broken up now into teeny tiny little pieces. But they were these thin sliced steaks. I used 2 boxes of this because you need 2 pounds of flank steak. And then you need 2 onions. So I've got 2 onions, chopped onions in there as well in my marinade. And then you need 2 tablespoons of olive oil and 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire, which for me is going to be the organic cocoa amino since it is soy free. And that's my substitute for Worcestershire. Then salt and pepper to taste. So that is what is in this marinade. Now I'm going to seal it up, put it in the refrigerator for at least 30 minutes before I do the rest of the cooking. So that is what is happening right now. Okay, it's time for some more prep work for our Philly cheesesteak lasagna. Just so you know, I'll link the original recipe down below in the description box. And of course, this is from All Recipes Dinner Spinner app. But since it is a Philly cheesesteak, the original recipe calls for green bell peppers and mushrooms. I'm allergic to both of those, so we're not doing that in ours. We're just doing the onions and the steak. But if you're not allergic and you enjoy them, feel free to add them according to the original recipe, but that's just not something we're going to add to ours. I read the reviews. Nobody really changed anything, except some people didn't add the peppers, so we're not either. All right, so now we're doing some prep work on the cheese mixture that's going to be layered with our lasagna. And I'm just going to go ahead and mix it together and put it covered up in the fridge until it's time to start layering. So this mixture is 1 egg beaten. Well, since I'm allergic to eggs, we are using Energy's egg replacer here. So I have put that in there. It's down on the bottom, that liquid right there. And then it calls for a 16-ounce container of cottage cheese. Well, I haven't found a cottage cheese that's non-dairy that I enjoy. So I'm going to be using this feta instead. So this whole brick of feta plus the juice I put in there, I crumbled it up and made it look like cottage cheese. So that's in there. And then you need half of your mozzarella cheese. So we're using So Delicious, dairy-free, plant-based mozzarella shreds. And the whole amount is a cup, so half is half a cup. So half a cup of mozzarella shreds are in there. And then you use all of your Parmesan. So we're using the Follow Your Heart dairy-free vegan Parmesan. And we are using half a cup. So that is also, where's here? So that is also in there. And then you need 1/4 of a cup of chopped fresh parsley. I don't have fresh, I have dried. So I looked it up and that is 6 teaspoons dried. So I have 6 teaspoons of dried parsley in there. We're gonna mix this all together and then we're gonna put it in the fridge covered up with the lid here until it is time to start using it to layer our Philly cheesesteak lasagna. Okay, it's time for another step in the Philly cheesesteak lasagna recipe. So it's time to cook the noodles. And the way it wants me to do it is I heated up some water. So you take warm water and you pour it over the noodles in a 9x13 baking dish. These are the noodles we're using. Tinkenyada makes brown rice gluten-free lasagna noodles. So we're using those. And I covered them with hot water that I heated up in the microwave. And now they're going to sit for, it said, about 20 minutes until tender. So they're cooking in hot water, just sitting here on the countertop in the baking dish. And then when they're done, we're going to drain them in the colander here and then spray the baking dish with olive oil. So we'll get to that next. All right, I'm back. Next step in the Philly cheesesteak lasagna. We are cooking our marinated steak and onions. Remember, I didn't use bell pepper or mushrooms. So this is just the steak and onions. It's cooking up pretty fast. And then we added 4 teaspoons of minced garlic. It calls for a teaspoon of garlic powder, which is the equivalent of 8 cloves. So half of a teaspoon of this is equivalent to a clove of garlic. So it was 4 teaspoons of this. So I've added that in there. It's cooking up. When it's done, I'm going to add in our pasta sauce. You're supposed to do 2 jars of 24 ounces each. So I'm just going to use 1 jar from Sam's of 45 ounces of Prego traditional. So I'm going to dump that in there. We've got it on medium heat for the steak. Once it's all cooked, I will add in the sauce and then show you what that looks like. All right. So it's been 20 minutes of soaking in hot water for our lasagna noodles for our Philly cheesesteak lasagna. And now I'm going to drain it in this colander here. And then I've got to spray the dish here, 9x13 baking dish, with some cooking spray. Okay, so I've drained the noodles. They are here in the colander and they are tender. And then I have sprayed the pan with our olive oil spray. We'll start layering soon. All right, our steak and onions and garlic are cooked, and so now I've added our 45-ounce jar of Prego, so 2 24-ounce jars of pasta is what it wanted. That's close enough. Pasta sauce. So that's what's in there now, and you just heat it through and then turn the heat off. We've started our layering. Supposedly it's enough for 3 layers. We'll see. So you put 2 cups of the pasta sauce mixture on the bottom, then follow that with 4 of the lasagna noodles. Then follow that with 1/3 of the cheese mixture. Then follow that with 2 more cups of the sauce, and then provolone cheese. It's supposed to be shredded, but I have sliced and I'm just gonna use it that way. So there you go. Now I'm going to layer again, and then you cover it with mozzarella cheese. All right, all my layers are done, and I covered the remaining mozzarella cheese on top. Then you spray aluminum foil with your olive oil cooking spray and cover it. We're going to put it in a 350-degree oven for 45 minutes. All right, this is the finished product. You're supposed to let it sit 15 minutes after you take it out of the oven, and just before I took it out, you have to take off the foil and let it cook for 15 minutes without the foil on there to brown the cheese. So there you go, 15 minutes, and then another 15 minutes out of the oven. It was bubbling so much, it bubbled over. Thankfully, I have an oven guard at the bottom, but I wish I'd had a deeper lasagna dish because this is not deep enough for this recipe, just so you know. This is your normal 9x13 Pyrex, so if you got something deeper, you might want to use it. That's it. Have a great Monday meal.